Hello. So in this class, I'm going to be setting up an instance on AWS, and I need you to follow attentively because it's quite technical, but it's easier if you follow through. So what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be using the Terraform on my Linux virtual machine that is running. And I think I showed you that in the previous class. But here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be writing all my scripts on Visual Studio Code. So by the time I'm done writing the script on Visual Studio Code, I would need to move it to the Linux machine for execution. And there are several tools or commands, line of commands that I'm going to be running so that I can communicate between my Linux machine, my Windows machine, which is the host machine, and I'm going to be sending my codes. What do I mean by sending my codes? I'm going to be sending this very folder, the samples folder, the samples directory where I have my script. I'm going to be moving it to the Linux for execution. So it is the Linux that is going to be talking to the AWS API, to the AWS backend, to the AWS platform. While my Windows Visual Studio Code is going to be speaking to my, is going to be talking to my Linux machine. I don't know if you get that scenario. So let me go over that again. I'm going to be writing my script on my Windows Visual Studio Code. So once I'm done writing it on my Visual Studio Code on Windows, I will move it to my Linux machine. So the reason why I'm going to be doing that is just because, yes, by default, my host machine is not a Linux machine. It is a Windows machine. But I have a guest operating system, which is let me show you that, which is a Linux computer that I've connected to using my PuTTY. So even if I have the machine, probably I have an EC2 instance whereby I installed my Terraform on EC2 instance. In case I've installed my Terraform on EC2 instance, the same way I'm connecting to this my virtual machine is the same way I'll be connecting to any other machine which I run my Terraform on. So I have two computers here. This is my VM. Let me minimize it. So this is my operating system, my host operating system, my Windows system, where I have my Visual Studio Code. So anytime I'm done writing my script, what I'll do is that I'll just send it straight to my virtual machine. I'll send it here. So let me show you the directory. To check the directory on a Linux machine, you enter ls, or if you want to see it, so you can enter ls minus a. And if you want to clear your screen, the command you enter is clear. If you press up arrow, it's going to repeat the previous command for you. So clear is what I entered. Before clear, I entered ls minus a. Before ls minus a, I entered ls. And I'm using my arrow button to move through the commands I entered previously. But if you want to see all the commands I've entered throughout this session, you can enter the command history. So these are the commands I've entered. I've entered over 1662 commands while working on this Linux machine. So let me enter clear again so that I can clear my screen to make it look fresh. So to check through my directory, I'm going to enter this command ls. The reason I'm going to be doing this is just because for those who don't know, for those of us who are not too familiar with Linux and are quite interested in learning Linux, so you can start learning Linux from here. So start picking the commands one after the other, little by little. Before you know it, you are not going to be a novice learning Linux, or in Linux in general, you are not going to be a novice. So you know how to move through your directory and you know how to point your directory. So I've entered some commands there. The first one I entered is the ls, just like list all my directories. What you are seeing here in white is what you are seeing in white is mostly files. So while folders are sometimes in blue or not having extension. So and you have some in green. Some of them are executable files, executable. That's why they are in green. So just because of my flair of Linux, my distribution of Linux, I'm using is Kali. That is why it's giving me this kind of coloration. But if you're using another one, the coloration might be different. So that is just a brief about that. So I have some of these folders here. I can have I have Terraform lessons here. That is the folder we are going to be working on. So let me remove it. If I'm going to remove it, I'm going to use rm minus vrf minus Terraform. I type Terra, but I want to type this. This is the guy I want to get. I want to remove it so that I'm going to copy it afresh. I'm going to show you how to copy it afresh. At the same time, I want to show you how to delete a folder or a directory in Linux. So rm minus vrf. So those are extensions that I use my rm command so that if I have r is going to make it recursive. So vf f is going to mean that I should first delete this very folder. So YV also stands for another command that is going to help me go through this folder and subfolders within, delete everything, and the current version I'm working on. So I'm going to be using rm minus vrf. You can learn more about it or go to type manual or dash man on your Linux so that you can get all those, you can get more instructions about all these commands I'm entering. And you can equally do Google to learn more about these commands. But these are handy commands that you can have at hand, write it somewhere, keep it so that you use them from time to time. So one of those commands is rm. So I'm going to be using it with lem sub commands or extensions that is going to give it much more function for me for the purpose of removing this folder. So rm terraform. If I should press my tab, the tab is going to do autocomplete of the file I'm trying to, the folder I'm trying to write out. So LE, press my tab again, it's going to complete it for me. So RM minus VRF. But try to notice what we have here. I have Terraform course, a folder. I have Terraform modules, another folder. So the folder I want to remove here is Terraform lessons. So if I should press enter now, so you can see remove directory, remove. If I should enter clear again, let me scroll this up a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing. I need to scroll this up. So I believe you can see it now. Okay, so if I should enter clear now, it will clear the screen for me. So enter ls again to list the commands, the directory. You can see that Terraform course, Terraform modules are the only thing I'm having there. The Terraform lesson has been removed. Please take note of that. So let me move to another command that you may be asked in an interview or you are going to be using from time to time. So here I'm running my script here on a Windows machine, and this Windows machine, that's where I have my Visual Studio Code that I use to write my script. I've got two scripts here, the instance.tf. If you are going to create any Terraform script, it must end with the extension .tf. If I'm going to create a new one, let me click on new aziz.tf. So you can see it has changed to an extension. It has changed to the Terraform logo, the Ashikop logo. So which is okay. So that's how to create a Terraform file. So I'm going to delete that. I don't need that. So, but you can create something like this, something like what I have here. Meanwhile, I'm going to be sharing with you this same code. I'm going to be sharing it with you. It's already, I'm going to put it on my repo. So there's going to be a repo where you can just copy and paste this command. But let me just explain what this command, what it does for you. This is you declaring the provider on Terraform. The provider I want to use here is AWS. For Google, I'll be using GCP, and for any other platform, they have their own name. So, but this is for AWS. So, my provider is AWS. I'm going to be using access key and secret access key. I believe you and I know how to create an access key, secret access key on AWS. To do that is very, very simple. You only need to go to the IAM console on your AWS platform. So the IAM console, you are going to create a new role. So on the new role you are creating, you give the role an administrative access. So while you are creating a new role to perform this action with Terraform, you have to do what? You have to give the role or the user. You create a user. You can give that user administrative rights so that that user is going to be having access key and secret access key that will be able to connect to the backend API of AWS to create what you need to create. And I think that is clear enough. So if you are doing something for Google, this is going to be different. If you are doing for Azure, this is going to be different. So this is just a connector to the back end of the platform you are working on. So why this is the resources I want to create? The resources I want to create now is what AWS, what instance. And what is the instance name? Example, I can decide to call this one sample. And I save. So my instance is going to be named sample, and the AMI ID is this. So this guy change from time to time, and for you to know the AMI, I'm going to show you a website where you can check that out. The AMI that is applicable to each of the zone. The region I'm going to be working on is the US West 2. So you just go to this website. Let me see if I still have the website here. So if I don't have the website, since I don't have it here, let me just enter Google. AMI. Let me look at for the okay. I think I still have it here. So this is for Amazon. You can go to cloud.imagesubuntu.com/locator EC2. So you can pick your area, US West 2, the kind of AMI that are there available there. And if you have something in mind, probably you have a particular version of OS that you want to use. Probably you want to use Ubuntu. There are different version here. So you can scroll down, search for what you want. So that is how to do that. It's quite easier. Select the one that is applicable to your region. So you select it from here, you copy, you put. But in this case, I'm going to be using the free tier EC2. So for the free tier EC2 in US West 2, so I'm going to be using this AMI so that I'm not, because I don't want to pay any charges. I don't want to pay for anything I'm going to be spinning up here. So that's the reason I've decided to use this AMI. You can use the same thing, or make sure you confirm that this is for the free tier. AMI ID of the free tier EC2 instance for your region. So once you confirm that, replace it with what I have here. So once you replace it with what I have here, what you need to do is that you need to move this script in this folder, Terraform lessons. I'll need to move it to my Linux machine. So how do I do that? I can use FTP, file transfer protocol. I can use copy and paste anyhow I want to make it happen. There are so many ways, but I'm going to be using a tool SCP. So SCP is what I'm going to be using. But first of all, the SCP has, let me type SCP so that you see. So for SCP, it has to be, you have to specify the source and the target. SCP, you enter a command, any of this command, then you enter the source and the targeted. Source is going to be this my system from the present working directory I am to my Linux machine. So the command is going to be scp -r. I want to make it recursive. And this directory that I am, I want to move what is there. This very directory, I want to move it to the Linux operating system. So what I'm going to do is that first of all, type pwd, present working directory. So present working directory is going to show you the present working directory is going to show you the folder you are working in. So I'm working in C users A Terraform lessons. So that is going to be my source. So if I want to know my remote too, you can go to your remote machine and enter the same command pwd. So this is the destination. This is where I want to move it to, the remote folder I want to move it to. So I think that is clear. If it's not clear, you can ask me questions. I will explain it. But let me clear my screen clear. So I'm going to be doing scp minus r, the directory I just checked now. Let me check so that I can copy again. So very good. So I'm going to do scp minus r. I'm going to copy and paste. So once you select like that, just right click here. So the guy should paste for you. If that doesn't happen, repeat the same process again. Oops, it's not copying. Uh, so what I did is I did Control C, so that worked. But Control C would not work in the terminal with on Linux. So, but since this is Windows, I use Control C to copy the directory where I have all these scripts. The directory is in Terraform lessons, and that is what where we are showing here. So if I should put a space here, what is going to be my destination? My destination is going to be my remote host, which is going to be using with the username Aziz at the IP address of my remote host. I can check that. To check the IP address of a Linux machine, you enter ifconfig. So ifconfig will show you the IP address. The IP address is 192.168.0. That's Ethernet 0. So this is the IP address of the guy, 192.168.244.136. If you are working on EC2 on AWS, what you need to do is to get the public IP address of your machine, your EC2 machine. The username is sometimes is the EC2 user or Ubuntu. Those are the two common names that comes with the Ubuntu or EC2 or Linux instance on AWS. So I'm going to be using this IP address. So I press Control C. That's why you're saying that. So because this is Linux, so that would not work. But when I press Control V here, that this is what you get. You get this. So what you're going to do is that you put this, you say / the working directory I saw there. So this working directory here is what home/Aziz. So I'm going to put it in this home folder. I'm pressing Ctrl C again so that I can paste it here. So you can see once I paste, you press enter. That is what you get to ask you for the password of your remote host. I enter the password of my remote host, so it started copying. So if you go to your remote host now, you go to your Linux machine, clear the screen, enter ls, and see if you have it there. So by the time I entered ls, I'm having Terraform lessons already here. So if you need to move into the Terraform lessons folder, just enter cd space Terraform lessons. You press enter. CD is to change directory. So that means you are moving into a particular directory, CD. So please take note of that for those who are new to Linux, CD, Terraform lessons. So if you enter ls, you are going to see the class 2, you see instance samples. So that class 2 is the folder here. You can see class 2, you can see the readme, this is the readme folder, and sample instance, that is the instance I'm going into, the subdirectory I'm going into. So I'll enter my CD sample instance. So CD sample instance. So in this CD sample instance, if you press ls, you are going to see these two files, instance tf, versions tf. So those are the two files that are going to make my Terraform, my two Terraform files that is going to make my EC2 instance spin up. I'm going to use to spin up an EC2 instance. So if you want to check the code in there, you can use cat instance. Cat is just like a reader. You can call it let me say a text reader. Cat is a text reader that you can use on Linux. So if I enter cat instance.tf, that means this instance.tf, I must see the same content I'm seeing here. I have to see it here too. So that shows me. So you can see what I'm having here is what I'm having here too. So that means I've been able to successfully move this file and its content as it is from my local machine to my remote host. So that is what you have here. So I think this is simple as well. So, but there's something you need to do here. And that thing you need to do here is that make sure that you enter your access key and your secret key, you need to put them here so that you'll be able to spin up this instance. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to put in my access key and my secret key here, but I'm not going to be sharing that with you. You should have your own too. So for security reason, I'm going to put it there. Once I do that, I'm going to spin up this instance. But before I do that, let me explain the second script, the version script. So this is just to tell Terraform that I want my Terraform version to be run, the required Terraform that should run on the machine should be version 12 upward. Can be 12.18, 12.24, which is the current one as when I'm recording this. That is what I want to have here. So that is what I want to run this script on. So if someone is running version, if it's running a version that is less than 12, this script might not run correctly. So I believe that anyone who is watching this video as at now should be should be running a Terraform that is older, that is 0.12 version. I think that is clear. So let me take my time to put the access key. So I'm going to be putting it in this script. I'm going to put it in this script here. So that is what I'm going to be using to spin up my instance. So by the time I spin up the instance, we'll see what happens. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a walkthrough. Meanwhile, another thing I have not mentioned is that you can edit this script directly on your Linux. Since you have moved it to Linux, you can edit from it. So to edit cat instance, to edit instance.tf, you enter Vim. Vim is another tool that you can use to edit. You can use to edit your script or any script, any file in Linux. So Vim instance.tf, by the time I enter it, so I'll be able to edit my script here. So this is the Vim interface. So on the Vim interface, if you want to edit, you press I. So once I press I on my keyboard, you are going to see insert though. So that means I'm ready to edit this script. So what I need to do is that I'm going to clear off this access key so that I can copy and paste my access key here. At the same time, I'm going to do for the secret key. So I'm going to pause this video while I put the access key and secret access key. So once I'm done putting that, to save, I'm going to press this guy. So I'm going to press escape first. Once you press escape, you are going to press colon, then you are going to press QS, or no, Q exclamation mark. So that means I have saved. If I should enter cat instance.tf again, you see that, okay, I didn't save. What I did was to quit. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to enter vim instance tf again so that I can. I is to do this. I so that I can insert. So hold on. So to save like this, yes, I have not put the access key and the secret access key, but I just want to show you how to save. By the time you put your secret access key, you put it here. You see, this is just a sample. The access key, the secret access key, you put them. You press your you press escape. So once you press escape, you'll be able to enter your colon and you enter your WQ. So once you do that, you must have saved your content. So if you enter cat again, cat insert TF, you should see that what I've just inserted is there. So that's how to edit from within Linux. So please take note of that. If I have to repeat the same thing again, I'll enter my vim instance.tf vim. That means I want to edit. I'll press I. So that means you see insert option here. So that means you are good to insert. You can delete, enter whatever you need to enter. You enter them here between the quotes. Please make sure it's between the quotes. So once you do that, you are good to go. So here I already have my access key in place, and I also have my secret access key. So every other thing will still remain the same. The US West 2, that's going to be my region, the region where I'm going to be launching this instance. So while the AMI will still remain the AMI, the one I have here, T2 micro. So I'm going to be using a free instance, and the resource is going to be AWS dot dash underscore instance. So if you are familiar with cloud formation, so this should look somehow familiar. It's going to be AWS, and what I'm going to the resource I'm going to be initiating or implementing under AWS is what is an instance EC2 instance. So the name I'm going to be giving is example. So though that can change. So you can give that any name you want. So once you are ready to launch this, first thing you need to do is to do Terraform init. So it's going to tell you initializing the back end. So while it's doing that, it's going to be downloading the plugin from HashiCorp. Meanwhile, there's something I normally do in order to save myself the bulk of the stress. I mean, to save myself time for this download for of the plugin. Once I have the plugin downloaded somewhere, so what I normally do is I'll just copy it into the directory I need to work on. So I'll copy into the directory I want to work on locally, so that I will not need to download. So this state can be very fast. So that's what I do normally. So I think I'm going to show you somewhere. Though that is very simple. You just want to copy and paste this plugin that is always being downloaded anytime you do Terraform init. Instead of it to be downloaded directly from the source, you can just copy from your local directory. So it's telling you that the version is what 2.57. That is the AWS version provided. That means the backend API that this thing is going to be connecting with. So let me take it once again. The first command you enter is Terraform init. So it should download a plugin that is going to make this command run successfully. So once that downloads successfully, so the next thing you're going to do is to enter Terraform apply. So if your script is wrong, you get it from here that your script is wrong. But here it's going to tell you that I'm about to do this. Are you sure? Do you want me to continue? If you say it's okay, no problem, you say yes, then you are good to go. So this is the transcript of what you're about to do. Transcript is telling you that AMI you want to the AMI ID you want to use, that means the kind of instance you want to deploy is based on this AMI, ARN as here with the CPU core count, if you have indicated all these options, or if you sometimes you may need to give it a kind of IP address, a reserved IP address, or these are some of the characters you can change from here. But most of them known apply after apply. So this some of them will be applied after will be known after you have applied the options. After you must have pressed enter, that's when you know some of them will apply by default. If since you have not indicated to put them from beginning. From beginning, I indicated the AMI I want to use. You can see it here. So I also indicated the instance type I want to use, which is T2 micro. You could have used any other thing. So all these other parameters too is what you can also, some of them are what you can edit from this end. Some of them you can predetermine. Some of them will be assigned when this instance is created. Please take note of that. So if you are good with all these options, then you can enter yes. So once you enter yes, it will start creating the instance. So the instance is creating. Once it's done, you get an indication that that's done successfully. If anything goes wrong, you also get a notification. So while we wait for that, let me pause the video. So this has done successfully. That's completed successfully now. So we have one resource added. So once you are done creating, you see the instance initiating here. So we have the IP address, same AMI ID that we used initially. So this is the instance I have just created. And once you are done creating this, you can easily remove it by, but don't forget to do that. It's very, very important. Once you are done creating or you have deployed resources and you don't have anything to do with them, so that you don't incur any unnecessary charges. So what you need to do is for you to go to your command prompt, enter the command Terraform destroy. So with Terraform destroy, if you should refresh this page, you are going to get to see that something is about to happen. So now it's just refreshing the state of the instance. So it's asking that should I destroy? I'm about to destroy one resource. So which is EC2 instance. Enter yes. Then to start the process of destroying the instance. So I'm trying to refresh this page. So you can see that it's shutting down the instance. The next thing you're going to get to see is that the instance has been terminated. And that is as a result of me trying to destroy it from the console. So even if I have 1,000 instances, I have 1,000 computers, I have 50 subnets, I have all that, you can remove them with a just the point of with the point of a stroke. You can remove all the instances, the resources, the subnet, the gateway, the drives, the volumes, everything. You can remove them from here with this. So if you check here, it's still shutting down. So very soon this thing will change to terminate state. So that's how to do it. Very, very easy. So thank you. We are going to move to a more advanced creation as this class progress. So after the whole process is complete, you are going to get this green notification here that destroy complete resource one destroyed. So that means you only have one resource that is there to be destroyed, which is the instance I showed you earlier. So here it is destroyed.